You may not have known this, but for nearly 150 years, Arlington National Cemetery, just outside of Washington, D.C., has offered a pristine final resting place for America's fallen soldiers and veterans. The cemetery's beauty is often attributed to its uniformity and strict upkeep, consisting of simple religious markers as gravestones. But officials now have a new policy that allows family members of soldiers who died in Iraq and Afghanistan to leave mementos and photos at the gravesite. Arise News asked Arlington officials for an explanation of the change, and they told us that the decision was based on conversations with Gold Star families and an attempt to be flexible toward their needs. Celeste Mills lost her son, Staff Sergeant Joshua Mills, in Afghanistan in 2009, and she joins us on the phone now from Tallahassee, Florida. Celeste, thank you so much for taking a few minutes with us. We do appreciate it.
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to thank the Arlington officials, Mr. Howland and the superintendent specifically, for consideration to modify this policy.
I want to start off just by giving you our condolences for the loss of your son as he was serving this country. I know that you visit his gravesite, I believe, a couple times a year. Can you explain why going and leaving mementos is important to you and your family?
Oh, my goodness. That's easier said than done. It's just a small demonstration of the devotion that we still feel to our son, that I guess we will probably feel forever. And they are small mementos. I've never expected that anything would remain there indefinitely. I do fully recognize that Arlington does need to be cleaned up, spruced up, and if I've not removed it myself, then I don't expect it to be there when I return for our next visit. So in that regard, anything that we leave, it would have a small emotional meaning to us, not necessarily to anyone else. And typically when we are going, people who were friends of Joshua's and other family members, we will take mementos for them. It might be a pin from a business where someone works. It might be a rock. It might be military insignia. It could be anything that that person would like to send. Again, a small memento that we do try to leave for our son.
Is it my understanding, Celeste, that you were not aware that you weren't supposed to leave those mementos, which kind of makes sense because people leave mementos all the time, for instance, at the Vietnam Memorial. So did you know that there was a restriction against this?
Well, what happens when you are about to have your services at Arlington is someone comes in and they have a folder, and there are certain documents that I know are inside the folder or envelope, and they specifically show you what the headstone will have on it, and they ask you to make sure you look at that and note any discrepancies, anything that might need to be corrected or whatever. And I personally do not recall that that particular sheet was pulled out and the specifications for what would be allowed and not allowed. I do not recall that that was gone over with us. It was just a matter of minutes that we were in the back of the chapel, and then we went out for our son's services, and then we made the walk from the chapel down to, section 60. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I don't remember that they went over it. As I said, we were only back there for a few minutes, and I did not go home back to Texas from Arlington and pull that out and look at it. We were just so overwhelmed.
Sure.
Everything that was transpiring. And honestly, I don't believe I ever went to look and determine what are the guidelines. And upon our visits, even when our son was laid to rest, upon other visits, we did notice that there were many headstones that families and grieving ones had left different mementos.
Let me ask you about this.
Therefore, we did the same.
Sure, I understand now. As I understand, as a result of this October 6th meeting, that this policy was changed to allow, again, these small mementos and photos to be left at the markers. It is temporary, that families are really only sanctioned to do this between now and April, presumably when the grass starts growing and they have to start the grounds upkeep again. So it's just a temporary policy that perhaps they will revisit again next fall. How do you feel about that they placed restrictions on it?
I am just so grateful that they're allowing anything that I'm just grateful. Let me just say that. And first, there were so many families that were upset because they were visiting there are many families that live in the area of Arlington, and they're able to visit frequently, and they did take things out. And I know moms who are we're all brokenhearted, but these moms go every single week, and they spend the day sitting at their child's headstone. And when they come back and everything that was left is now swept away, that has been very difficult. It was as though here we've already suffered this terrible tragedy, and now these little things that we were doing to help us were not cared about. And we know that all of our families have suffered that have anyone in Arlington. We do understand that. Personally, after I read an article and looked at some of the comments, it had truly never occurred to me that there might be family members who were very upset and felt dishonored by our attempts to honor our son. And we would never willingly do anything to dishonor Arlington, my son, or any other fallen hero, or hurt anyone's feelings.
Yeah, and
so in this regard, I do look at this as a wonderful compromise that in the summer months it makes perfect sense to me. They want to keep it, everything free and clear for the safety of the groundskeepers, and then give the family members the fall and the winter to put a few things out. And I'm very anxious to see what those guidelines are. And I can promise we are going to follow those to the letter because we hope that if they are going to reconsider this next fall, that they will say, this has been a success and it's okay to do this, and maybe help all of us to heal our hearts.
Very well said. We'll have to leave it right there. Celeste Mills, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. And again, our condolences to you for the loss of Joshua.
Thank you very much. Thank you so very much for giving me the opportunity to speak for all of our families. God bless you.
God bless you. Thank you.